I'm Chris Lee at Southeastern 14, presented by the Bearded Iris Brewing Company, here to go over SEC baseball action from Thursday night. It would be May the 4th at Cinco de Mayo as we do this. And there were only two games, Alabama and Vanderbilt, and Missouri hosting Ole Miss, but there was actually a lot more to unpack here than maybe meets the eye on two Thursday night games. And let's start in Tuscaloosa, where, of course, the backstory was bigger than the game itself, although I think the game had some pretty significant potential implications going forward for both teams. But we talked about Brad Bohannon yesterday, Alabama's coach, who's been dismissed. And look, I don't know how else to say this. I've got to wonder if Alabama now, as I'm going to put up our updated standings, which I forgot to do, might not be better off with a coach that we are sure is managing with that team's best interest. And I wondered how Alabama would respond last night to being the center of the sports universe yesterday. And you wonder how players are going to respond knowing that they had a coach who was, it's out there publicly now, apparently not acting in their best interest, at least in every game. I'll just leave it at that. And we don't know where this is going to go or where it's been. But the Brad Bohannon story occupied a lot of the news. And once the first pitch happened, what was evident is Alabama came ready to play. And in this one, you had Vanderbilt's R.J. Schreck hit a home run off Luke Holman in the top of the first inning. And from that point on, it was all Alabama. Alabama wins this one 11-2. And a lot to like here if you're Alabama. First of all, let's start with Luke Holman, who was tremendous. Throws 7 innings against a good hitting lineup, gives up 2 runs, both those earned, walks just 1, strikes out 7, and he throws 98 pitches. So they use, Alabama does, Alton Davis for just 1 inning and 16 pitches. And then they're able to, with that big lead, because they tacked on some more runs late, to throw Braylon Myers, who's kind of a back end of the bullpen arm for them, and maybe save Davis for a few pitches for a high leverage situation later. I think that's something that can end up being key for Alabama in this series. We will see how it plays out. The bats came last night. Andrew Pinckney hits a grand slam in the second inning. Drew Williamson hits, I think, a 3-run bomb late. Ed Johnson hits a home run. So Alabama just brought a complete game on Thursday night, hitting, fielding, pitching, and wins just a runaway with the Vanderbilt team that, frankly, not played very well the last couple of weeks. Now, Vanderbilt did sweep Kentucky last week, got a little fortunate to win game 3. And the last 2 weeks on the road for Vandy have not been good. Vanderbilt got clobbered in Knoxville 2 weeks ago and does not start this one off in an encouraging way in Tuscaloosa. I think the big thing to watch for Vandy coming out of this one was Carter Holton, who just has not been good for them in SEC play for most of the last month. Did have a good start in Knoxville 2 weeks ago, but he throws just 56 pitches, had trouble finding his footing on the mound. The defense behind him was not very good. Holton gives up 5 runs, 4 of those earned in an inning and 2/3. Patrick Riley comes in and I thought pitched better than the line indicated. He gives up 4 runs in 5 1/3 innings. Vandy threw him 101 pitches, which was probably too many. J.D. Thompson comes in and gives Vanderbilt just a mop-up inning at the end. But Alabama is now 10-12 in the SEC, and Vanderbilt, for I think the first time all year, wakes up the next morning not in sole possession or shared possession of the SEC lead. That now goes to LSU, and I think that's the most significant other thing from this is that I think now that LSU has taken over the conference lead, I don't see the Tigers giving that up because Vandy's schedule is significantly more difficult from here on out. 5 of its remaining 8 games on the road at Alabama and Florida, and then a home game with Arkansas. LSU has got, at Auburn, which will not be easy, but then Mississippi State and at Georgia. Now, we've said time and time again, Georgia not an easy place to play, but LSU is looking to me like the best team in the conference, even though it does have some pitching issues. Okay, our channel presented by the Bearded Iris Brewing Company. The Sylvan Supply location they are in is home to Black Dynasty, Secret Ramen House. You will find a wide variety of comforting bowls of meaty and vegan-friendly ramen and house-made noodles alongside weekly features that rotate, including seasonal sides, salads, and desserts. Go check out the Bearded Iris Brewing Company in the West Nashville area if you're in town, and tell them you heard about them on Southeastern 14's YouTube channel. Okay, Ole Miss and Missouri, another game with some implications because now Ole Miss is in sole possession of last place. Missouri overcomes a 9-2 deficit in the sixth inning and wins this one 11-9. Luke Mann hit 2 more home runs. He's been terrific this year for Missouri. Trey Morris hit 1. Dalton Bargo, Matt Garcia each hit 1. For Ole Miss, it was the bullpen falling apart. Xavier Rivas comes out of the game in the 6th. Riley Maddox comes in and gives up 4 runs. Did not record an out. Mason Nichols gave up a run. Jack Doherty gave up a couple. Bullpen has just been an issue for Ole Miss for a couple years running now. For the Rebels, Jacob Gonzalez, Kemp Alderman, TJ McCants all hit home runs. Missouri, the bullpen really picked up the Tigers down the stretch. Rorik Maltrud, who's been pitching, is kind of a starter, a high-leverage early inning guy. They'll bring him in when the game's in balance and they need a longer inning. They shifted him last night back to, I guess, a higher leverage late inning situation. He gives them the scoreless inning. Austin Trosser gets the win with 2 perfect innings at the end. Missouri now 6-16. Missouri can take a couple more from Ole Miss. It would be 8-16 leaving the week and still would have some work to do. But Missouri's final games are going to be Georgia and at Auburn, which are not unwinnable. I don't know if Missouri can do enough maybe to get to 12 or 13 wins. Maybe 13 would do it with a couple wins in Hoover, which if Missouri wins 13 would be there. But anyway, so watch that one. Mississippi State certainly will have an eye on this series too, because Missouri, if it can sweep the series, would probably put itself in the driver's seat to get to Hoover and probably knock Mississippi State down. So the Bulldogs might be in an unusual position of needing to root for Ole Miss in the remainder of this series. We'll see how it goes. All right. We will recap everything from Friday night. We'll probably have that out Saturday morning. We are Southeastern 14. Remember to hit the subscribe button. That's a free follow. It costs you nothing. Hit the like button. That helps our analytics. We'll be back on Saturday morning to wrap up games of Friday night. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.